First, let's start with this case. I, 29 and my fiancée Erica, 27 have been together for 2 years and engaged for the past 4 months. After our engagement, Erica moved into my house. I still pay the mortgage while Erica covers utilities, groceries, and household items. Once we're married, the plan was to add her name to the house so she would gain equity. Erica's best friend, Leah, 27 has been in her life since high school. While I've always been cordial, I've never liked Leah. My issue is that Leah acts as though my home belongs to her. Here are a few examples. She brings her boyfriend over frequently, someone I consider a sketchy character, and acts disrespectfully toward me in my own home. She took tools from my garage without permission. When I checked my cameras, I saw Leah, her boyfriend, and Erica in the garage taking my tools. When I confronted Erica, she claimed Leah was just borrowing them. It took weeks and several reminders for them to return the tools. She tried to take wine from my liquor collection. One Friday night while I was working late, I heard bottles clanking. Erica wasn't home, so I went to investigate and found Leah behind my bar. She claimed Erica had told her it was okay to take a bottle of wine for a party. I told her it wasn't and she needed to leave. When I confronted Erica, she said, "I don't remember telling Leah she could take a bottle, but I might have." The final straw came when I discovered my golf clubs, my biggest investment, were missing. After checking the cameras, I saw Leah had used my garage code to take them. I called Erica, furious. She said Leah asked for the garage code to grab clothes from Erica's closet, and that she didn't know Leah had taken the clubs. Leah claimed her boyfriend needed them for work. It took 4 days to get them back, and they were dirty. At that point, I sat Erica down and told her that Leah was no longer allowed in my house. If I saw her there again, I'd call the cops. Erica got upset, saying Leah is her best friend and that I wasn't being fair. I pointed out the pattern of Leah disrespecting my property and how Erica didn't seem to care since none of her belongings were affected. I told her she could see Leah at Leah's place, but Erica said that wasn't an option because Leah doesn't like her apartment, and Leah's boyfriend makes her uncomfortable. Now, Erica is giving me the silent treatment and calling me an idiot. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, but am I in the wrong? Thank you all for your kind words and advice. After reading the comments, I realized it was time to resolve this situation once and for all. I decided to leave work early and talk to Erica. When I arrived home, Leah's car was in the driveway. Inside, Erica and Leah were watching TV. I told Leah to leave immediately. She tried to argue, but I made it clear that if she didn't leave, I'd call the police. Erica got upset that I kicked Leah out, but I told her I was done discussing Leah because nothing was changing. I sat Erica down and showed her this post. After 20 minutes of reading, I asked her what she thought. Her response? "These people don't understand our relationship or Leah." At that moment, I knew it was over. I asked Erica to hold out her hand and removed the engagement ring. She begged me to reconsider, saying she was sorry and would cut Leah off, but I told her I couldn't even trust her with the garage code. How could I trust her as my wife? Erica locked herself in the bedroom while I packed up her things. I called her parents and explained the situation. They were furious. Apparently, Leah has been banned from their house since high school, something I didn't know until now. Her parents said they'd come this weekend to pick up Erica and her belongings. A huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. If I hadn't made this post, I might never have realized how toxic my situation had become. I'm looking forward to taking my golf clubs out and enjoying some free time now that I'm single. Thank you all again for your advice and support. It truly helped me see things clearly. Let's start judging. Do not put this woman on the deed to your home. Heck, don't marry her. You don't have a Leah problem, you have a fiancé problem. Time to move on, buddy. You're not in the wrong. You're not in the wrong. But are you sure you want to marry this woman? She's either an idiot for letting her friend rob you both, or the two of them are in on something. You're not in the wrong, but you are focusing on the wrong issue. You have a significant other problem. Leah would never have had the chance of disrespecting you, not more that once at least, if your fiancé had done her job and put her in her place. Your fiancé has no respect for you and your property. Next up, I, 31 have have been married to my wife, 28F, for 10 years. We have 4 great kids together, and while we have the usual ups and downs, we have a solid relationship. A couple of weeks ago, my stepsister and her new husband came to town and invited us out for drinks. My wife and I arranged for a sitter and met them at a bar. Over the 4 hours we were there, my wife and I each had 2 beers. But my stepsister and especially her husband got very drunk. At some point, the topic of weddings and engagements came up. I was mostly talking with my brother-in-law, so I'm pretty sure this conversation started between my wife and my stepsister. It wasn't a big deal, just casual chatter, until my brother-in-law asked my stepsister to show us her ring. For context, my brother-in-law comes from a wealthy family. His parents own a successful business, and he works for them. I don't know the full details of his finances, but I know they're well off. My wife and I had already seen her ring at their wedding, but we admired it again. Then my brother-in-law asked to see my wife's ring. She replied, "I'm not wearing it." This wasn't a surprise to me. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, and she doesn't wear her rings regularly. She's at home most of the time, so it's not on her mind to put them on for errands like running to Walmart. My brother-in-law made a big deal out of it, saying that if she truly cared about our marriage, she'd wear her rings. He even pointed out that I was wearing mine. For context, I wear inexpensive silicone rings that come in packs of 6 from Amazon. If I lose one, I just grab another. It's not the same as her wedding set. I could see that his comments were starting to upset my wife, even though she hadn't done anything wrong. Later, when both our wives went to the bathroom, he kept pushing his point with me, saying some things I won't repeat. That's when I told him, I can trust my wife with or without a ring. If you can't trust yours even with one, maybe that's something you should focus on instead of worrying about whether my wife wears the rings I paid for. For some reason, the fact that I paid for our rings myself seemed like a big deal to him. Since then, he's been rude to my stepsister about wanting to come for Christmas with our family. Apparently, he blamed their decision not to attend on what I said. My dad told me they're skipping Christmas because of the incident, and now other family members are also backing out, making this a bigger issue than it needs to be. Honestly, it all feels really stupid. Was I wrong to say what I did? Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. Married couples decide for themselves what they're comfortable with. I know a couple married over a decade where they're more likely to not wear their rings. Not because of a lack of love, but because of work, cleaning, etc., and they may leave the house without it. I know another couple where it was decided the guy wants to wear those silicone rings because of lifestyle reasons, but there's still the more formal and expensive wedding ring. Different strokes for different folks. Just reassure your wife. With everyone else, well, they weren't there when my brother-in-law acted like an idiot. You're not in the wrong. He was being pushy and weird about something that is none of his business. And if your stepsister is letting her husband control her like that, that's a whole different issue. I've been married for almost 11 years, and neither my husband nor I wear our rings. Neither of us likes jewelry that much. And frankly, the only people who have ever commented are my in-laws' family, who already don't like the fact we don't go to church. Not wrong. Sound like a drunk trying stir the pot. I rarely wear my rings and have been married to same person for 40 years. Wearing a ring does not guarantee fidelity, nor does it guarantee someone won't flirt or whatever. What is too bad is the insecure boy man has managed to divide the family. For what reason? Ask your dad if he would rather you and your family stay home on Christmas. He can come visit you another time. This kids will be disappointed. But they might as well learn now that some family members can be jerks. In fact, send out a text to the entire group. Since brother-in-law is so insecure and apparently feels threatened by my solid relationship with my wife, we will skip the family Christmas this year so that you all can go to my dad's house and celebrate. Next up, my friend Miley, 23, and I, 23, have a complicated relationship, primarily because I strongly dislike her boyfriend, Link, 24. Link is, to put it bluntly, selfish and inconsiderate. He treats others poorly, is often cruel, and was disliked by most people at our old college. Years ago, Link and I had a massive falling out, and I decided to cut him out of my life. Our larger friend group also heavily dislikes him, so Miley rarely brings him up. Occasionally, Link has shown up at events or parties, and while we've managed to remain civil or engage in brief small talk, it has only reaffirmed my negative opinion of him. That said, I've never expressed my feelings about Link directly to Miley, as I know she gets anxious and defensive when it comes to him. Her relationship with Link is a sensitive topic within our group, and while we voiced concerns early in their relationship, we've since kept quiet to avoid alienating her. To be clear, I don't think Link is abusive or intentionally isolating Miley. He just doesn't seem to care about the feelings of anyone except himself and Miley. Miley insists he's different around her and that he makes her happy, which she prioritizes above all else. 2 days ago, I got married to my now husband. The reception was a casual barbecue with about 30 guests. When sending out invitations, I included my friends' significant others, as over the years I've developed good relationships with them. However, I chose not to invite Link. I debated this decision, but ultimately decided it was my wedding, and I didn't want him there. At the wedding, Miley seemed to feel left out. While the rest of our friends were with their partners, she was by herself. She ended up drinking a lot, and at one point came up to me crying about how awful it felt to be the only one without her boyfriend there. I tried to comfort her, explaining that I didn't mean to upset her and that I'd only invited my closest friends. She then asked me why I couldn't just put up with Link and understand that he makes her happy. I told her I've always done my best to be civil and kind to him, despite my feelings, and that I've never spoken badly about him to her. She said she wished we could include him more and stop making her feel so alone. It felt like years of pent-up emotions were coming out all at once. Now I'm left wondering if I made the wrong choice. Should I have just invited Link to keep the peace? It was my wedding, and I wanted to be surrounded by people I care about, but hearing Miley's perspective made me feel terrible. Did I mishandle this situation? Let's start judging. She said she wished Link could be invited to places and liked. Yeah, well, he's not. If he cared about Miley and her feelings, he would know how he acts is causing her distress and would adjust his attitude accordingly. He doesn't. That's a Link problem and a Miley problem for putting up with it. If you date an idiot no one likes, don't be surprised that people don't want to be around them. You're not in the wrong, and Taba, Miley has some nerve to go crying about it to you on your wedding day. Maybe because she knows if she ends up marrying Link, no one will come to her wedding? You're not in the wrong. Sadly for your friend, it drove home the point that she's not going to be excluded, but no one is going to carry the burden of her choice of partner, especially not at their own milestone events. You were kind to even have the conversation given she knew how everyone felt about him beforehand. You're not in the wrong. What some people are forgetting is that no one else attending really likes Link either. It's not just about putting up with one person you don't like, which you shouldn't have to do at a small, intimate wedding and reception. It's also that this one dude would definitely throw off the vibe for the entire party if no one likes him. I feel for your friend OP, but I think you made the best decision possible for your happiness at your own wedding. And if your friend wants Link to be more well-liked, then the onus is on him to act right. Next up, my partner and I, both in our 30s, together for 10 years, mostly spend holidays with his side of the family since my family lives out of state. His family consists of his 2 sisters. One has a partner but no kids, the other has a toddler and a baby, his parents, and his aunt. 9 adults in total. They're a very gifting-oriented family. For the past few Christmases I've spent with them, the tradition has been to take turns opening presents, one at a time. It's a slow process that takes hours. Last year it took 4 hours because my sister-in-law, Sael, had her first child. Since her toddler was too young to open presents himself, she opened them for him, pausing for photos, bickering with her husband, etc., while the rest of us just sat around waiting for our turn. This year, now that she has 2 kids, a toddler and a baby, my husband and I are concerned it will take even longer. Adding to the difficulty is the fact that we live 2 hours away and can't bring our pets with us or find anyone to watch them. This means we can only stay for about 8 hours. Everyone else either lives nearby or stays over at my in-laws' house. Every year, we're expected to leave our house at 6 or 7 a.m. to arrive on time, sit through hours of gift opening, and finally eat. This year, my husband and I decided we wanted to start our own Christmas morning traditions at home. We'd like to exchange gifts, have breakfast, and listen to music before heading to his family's house to exchange family gifts. Interestingly, my SIL, the one with kids, had already suggested doing Secret Santa this year because they can't afford to buy gifts for everyone. We agreed and brought up how long the gift opening process usually takes, and everyone seemed fine with the idea. However, a couple of days before Christmas, my mother-in-law texted us saying we needed to be at their house by 7 a.m. again for presents, followed by breakfast, games, and dinner at 4 p.m. Essentially, we'd be expected to spend the entire day there. I was frustrated because this would mean leaving our house by 5 a.m., and I only have Christmas Day off from work. Most of the family, except my brother-in-law and Fael, have the whole week off, so they don't face the same time constraints. We pushed back and said we didn't want to arrive that early and suggested that couples and kids open gifts at their own houses before coming together to exchange family gifts. My mother-in-law was clearly annoyed, saying, "The point is to spend time with family on Christmas," as if we were trying to spend less time with them. That's not the case. We simply don't want the entire day to revolve around watching gifts being opened for hours. We told her we planned to arrive at 10 a.m. and suggested that they open gifts with the kids and couples before we get there. Are we being unreasonable? Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. I just wouldn't go. I bet you anything they hold off opening presents until y'all arrive. If you don't enjoy yourself and don't want to deal with the BS present opening process, just stay home. Enjoy your spouse and your pets. You received an invitation, which you can decline. My in-laws can be a bit much, but even they don't do this BS. Mother-in-law schedules her Christmas party. All the kids in the family open presents at the same time, with their parents responsible for taking pictures while the grandparents watch them all dig in. Then the adult children open at the same time while the in-laws watch. Then finally, the in-laws open their presents. Takes maybe an hour for the whole process. They're doing too much. I don't want to watch someone else's toddler open 20 presents, or watch couples give each other gifts. No one does, honestly. That should be done at home with each family unit and then meet up with grandma and grandpa and aunts and uncles later. You're not in the wrong. You're both more than old enough to be having Christmas on your own as a family, and all you're asking for is Christmas morning to yourselves. Not even the whole day. It's really not that much to ask. Mother-in-law is just being difficult.